Thank you so much for being here today. I don't always show excitement well, but I am actually really excited that, yeah? I'm really excited to be here and that all of you guys took the time to be here. It's really awesome. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Carr Hagerman. I'm the Senior Director for our Academic Technology and User Support team. And one of the things that I really love about the university and our role collectively is that we have this huge opportunity to advance the teaching, research, and outreach mission of the university through technology. Every customer interaction that we have, whether that's with a student or a staff or a faculty member, is an opportunity for us to create a really great and meaningful technology experience. I think we do a really awesome job at it, but it's something that we are always working to be better at. So towards that end, I'm really excited to welcome Carr Hagerman, who's our guest today. As a student of collaboration, Carr developed the popular Fish Philosophy speaking platform. Carr's presentation today will focus on a bold approach to service and engagement built on the basics and a need to collaborate and create engaging encounters to delight customers. Carr's message is really simple and clear: to see work as a way to improve the value of our own lives and the quality of our workmanship, and ultimately understand how we can make a difference through those we serve through engagement. So with that, please join me in welcoming Carr Hagerman.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Wow. What is it about all of us that want to gather and sort of split off like this? When you're a performer, it's just, I don't mind. It's just going to give me, I'm going to be going like this a lot, but I guess the people that believe safety is in the back, because if you have to run out suddenly because my fireworks and pyrotechnics starts a fire, you can get out and save your life. I haven't been here in a long time. I started the Fish Philosophy in 1999, 2000. I don't know how many of you have been through that, and I'm not here to talk about that today, but I'm talking about my past. How many of you went through the Fish Philosophy, all right? How many of you have no idea what that is? Okay, let me explain. It's about a bunch of fishmongers in Seattle that throw fish around, and a guy went out with a documentary camera and made a video on engagement using play, make their day, choose your attitude, and be there as the 4 tenets of the Fish Philosophy. It became the biggest training film in history. The biggest training film in history, featuring a bunch of fishmongers. And I stepped in about the time it started and really had a dim view, as I'll tell you that in a minute, of that industry of speaking. I'm not a motivational speaker by birth at all. I'm skeptical of the business that I'm in. Because I think there's a lot of people selling snake oil, if you will. And there's a lot of people making a lot of money selling snake oil. So I sort of stepped away from it, didn't want to do it, and got into it because I recognized at the heart of all of this, what I'm here to talk about today, is something I'm very interested in, which is not motivation, but how do we create a better world and how we engage one another? Because I don't care about customer service. I really don't care. Never have. I don't read books on customer service. If people are writing books about customer service, I generally ignore them. I'm interested in books about language, about poetry. I'm interested in books that have to do with the way we connect in the world, in a sort of poetic way. And from the years that I started speaking to now, I have visited almost well over 1,000 companies worldwide. I've had the great honor of speaking for multiple times for the Apple company and for Microsoft, American Express, General Electric, some of the world's biggest brands. And let me say right up front, I don't have a college degree. I have absolutely no background in this whatsoever. My background is 40 years of working at the Renaissance Festival, where I have, over the past 40 years, trained and worked with several thousand entertainers, performers, street performers, and whack jobs that I've been associated with. But some years ago, I discovered that there's a similarity, if you will, between street performing and this thing we call customer service. That at the heart and soul of engagement is how two people meet one another. And how we can, in, I'll use this term again and again, a sort of poetic way, meet each other through curiosity, through discovery, and leave each other with an indelible impression of the other that is, hopefully, positive. Now, there's a ton of research on how human beings meet and work together, but this whole engagement stuff is still largely being researched. But what we do know is that when we show up at our workplace and we have the tools we can work with, we know what we're supposed to do, our boss has given us all the tools we need, we feel like we have a voice in the organization in which we're involved in, we're more engaged. So a street performer I see the fish video, and I go, well, this is interesting. It's kind of what I do for a living. You know, I'm an entertainer, so I can see what this is. And then I'm an autodidactic, and I began to read, starting in 1999, 2000, everything I could about engagement, behavior economics. I had the great joy of working with the Gallup organization for almost a year, which is really, you know, at the target, the epicenter of engagement research. But before I get into the deep stuff, and I'm not going to be that deep today, I only have an hour with you. I'm going to tell a lot of stories. I'm going to veer all over the place like a train coming off the rails. And I want to tell you right now, I don't know what you people do all day long. I had a meeting. I looked into some of this stuff. I don't know what you do. I don't know the details of your day-to-day job. And more importantly is I don't care. It doesn't matter to me what you do all day long. In fact, I'm going to go home tonight and I'm not going to think about it. Okay? Why would I say that to you? Because I'm really interested in something else other than what you're doing. I'm interested in the conversation about who you're being while you're doing what you're doing. The job is the thing you do. Who you are and how you show up, that's who you're being while you do what you do. And that's where I believe the channel, if you will, the channel that matters the most is who are we being while we are doing this thing for someone else, be it on the phone, be it in person. Wherever you are, when you're face-to-face with somebody else and you're delivering a service, there is a transaction there. But it is a multi-channel transaction. And the channel I'm interested in tuning into, if you will, is the one about who we're being while we're doing what we're doing. So I want to start with the channel that's important to me. About 3 years ago, I stepped back from speaking. I was doing almost 150,000 miles a year in an airplane. And a lot of that was domestic. So you can imagine how much I was flying here and there and all over the place. I lived in airplanes, which is a disgusting place to live, let me tell you. And I traveled overseas a lot. And about 3 years ago, after I'd written a book and it had come out, Hyperion had published a book called Top Performer, which you can find on Amazon. I'll talk about it here in a little bit. I walked away from this speaking business and decided I wanted to focus on something that would mend my lonely heart, if you will, from all the travel. And so I bought a camera and took up photography as a professional pursuit, and also became a national voiceover talent. Decided I wanted to do that, and I've been successful at both of those. But why bring up the photography is I want to start with, and this is something I want you to think about, I want to always start in interaction with something that matters, that speaks to me. Why does that matter to me? Because let's say you're going out on a service call, you're on a phone call. If you can always keep in your mind something about this other person that you're curious about, that you want to see, that you want to discover, that you want to hear from. If you make a commitment that you want to get something out of the phone call, not simply deliver a service, but you yourself want to get something out of it, then you're always tuned into that who am I being channel, or at least a little bit. You know, we're not always going to be. We'd be exhausted if we did that, but just a little bit. So for me, standing up here, I used to come back here and prepare my notes, and I did a particular engagement, this is absolutely true, for the Victoria's Secret Company. I was on stage in front of all these store managers. It was quite the event, I will tell you. It was a big event in Las Vegas, and the head of HR for the company had been very gracious to me. And so there's all these store managers here, and I'm on stage speaking, giving my presentation, and there are huge screens behind me, and it's all lavish. It's just completely ridiculous and lavish. And I remember in the middle of that presentation, I realized I no longer knew what I was saying. That I was literally speaking, and I tuned in to the moment when I was speaking. I was not paying the slightest bit of attention to what I was saying. And I just stopped in front of probably 1,500 people. I stopped and looked at everybody and go, pardon me, I'm here talking about being present with people, and I completely am asleep to here. I'm actually thinking about the donuts that are in the back table. And there was laughter. I said, worse than that, I'm thinking about what am I going to do tonight in Vegas? What am I going to do tonight? I said, I need to step off the stage and start over. So I turned off my computer, where all my slides and all my notes were. And I came down in the front of the house and delivered the next 45 minutes extemporaneously. And it was one of the best presentations I ever have presented because I was off script and I was truly what I felt present with the people there. It's a great way to think about it. When you get a call, when you're thinking about what you're going to do, what can you tune in that you can get something out of that? So you stay really present. So as a photographer, I decided a couple years ago, about a year and a half ago, that I wanted to photograph people with elder dogs. I was really interested in that intersection between an aging dog and a family member. I'm a dog person. Who has dogs here? I just want to know who I can trust. Okay. And anybody have big dogs? Oh, yeah, big dogs. I have labs. Right. What's that? I have big gold. I have a golden lab. Oh, yeah, I'm big and old. My chocolate lab's 13 years old, but I have big dogs. I love my dogs. Anybody have cats? Yeah, whatever. Just kidding. I have cats too. My dogs need something to do when I'm not around. So anyway, I'm here to talk about top performer. I want to show you some of these images because it really, I think, goes to the heart of something I'm here to talk about today. This dog is no longer here. This dog was on her last leg when I took this picture, and I was reloading my compact flash card, and she was interacting with her dog, not really paying attention to me, and I got this moment between her and her dog, unscripted and vital. Here's another one that was just caught last minute, trying to get him this is an English lab. She's down there. She gives him a kiss. Look at him. Do you think he minds that? No. And here's perhaps one of the most tragic of these. This is a little poodle who, this is her last day. And after that, they put her down because she was very, very ill with cancer and could hardly walk. But the little daughter had gone out onto the patio and had walked down the stairs, and the dog wandered over to the patio and watched her walk out. And for me, there was just something powerful about this little creature living in this house for almost 15 years. Here she is watching her, her companion person walking down the stairs. In the heart that goes. And finally, one for fun. I did this photograph of actually a very successful speaker, Sam Richter, here in town. That's his pug. But what I love is he's a very straight, narrow guy. Look at the picture of him in the window. He's mugging for the dog because he wants the dog. As he says, smile. So why is this interesting? Maybe it isn't to you, but what is interesting to me is when we have something that really touches us, with something that unhooks us from something, we tend to be what I would call more normal, more pliable, more flexible, right? But then we come to work and everything is put into boxes. We have all the data we need. Everything's been measured. There's management. There's multi-levels of management. I mean, you don't have any of that around here, right? I mean, there is all of this stuff that we have to deal with, but at the end of the day, all of that is noise. All of it is noise. The noise that distracts us from this thing about how we can be with other people or connect with other people. That is essentially what customer service must be about, or human service must be about, is what our heart does. Who are we here? This is an image that sort of shows the pathway to that. We get a feeling of it, right? And so photography, and I like this quote because I think it has something to do with customer service, can create the illusion of being in an interesting world. Now imagine if you were to say to yourself, I mean, I don't think it's an illusion. I think it is an interesting world, a fascinating world, right? It's incredibly interesting every day. So customer service is not this thing we practice when we're at work. It's the thing that we do all the time because we're curious, because we want to look and see in the world, because we have a sense of play, that life is precious, right? So one of the things I get to do at the Renaissance Festival with all these performers and all these young performers every year is to recognize it's not about the script, it's not about the juggling, it's not about the histrionics. It's all about the customer or the audience connection. If you get that right, you will fill your hat at the end of a performance. Good example, I was out in Santa Monica, and I'd walk down the Santa Monica Pier where there's somebody juggling. And this is a guy who was juggling clubs, more clubs than I've ever seen a human being do. And he had a lot of people around him, right, doing it. All of them up in the air. But not a lot of people, but a few people around him. I left and came back an hour later because I'd walked down, had lunch, and came back. And there was a kid essentially doing 3 and 4 ball routines, which most of us in this room could learn, certainly a 3-ball juggling cascade pattern in a matter of a few minutes, maybe 20 minutes. Not hard to do. Not compared to the first guy. But the second guy, doing a much easier routine, had all of these people around him. He was surrounded by people because he understood that I can do this, but it's my pattern with the audience that includes them, that brings them into my world in an essentially meaningful way, that gives them something to do. And now we're both playing on the same page. My show is your show is my show. The performer creates the audience creates the performer. The service provider creates this relationship with the person that's looking to have a problem solved. You're both creating this relationship together, never mind all of the corporate noise. So when I wrote Top Performer, that was essentially the model that I was working with. And it's not just about positive attitude either. I love this quote. A positive attitude may not solve all your problems, but it certainly will annoy enough people to make it worth your effort. So at the very least, how many of you have been around people that are just positive all the time? Oh, it drives you crazy. But you also been around the other people. How many of you have worked with or associated with some sort of attitude vampire that can suck the life out of a room? Raise your hand if you're one of those people. I would just want to give you the stage. Even the lights dim when some of these people come in. We had a guy I used to work with. His name was Bob. And nothing against the name Bob, but his name was Bob. And he was all of that. And he would walk in like, oh, everything was horrible. And the fluorescent lights literally, you feel like like this. He needed to get outside and get a breath of fresh air just to get away from toxic Bob. We used to call him TB. He loved that. He loved that. He thought that was, I'm toxic. Yeah, well, great. So, but joy matters, right? So one of the things we know is attitude. And again, I don't want to go too far in this attitude because you've heard all this stuff before. Is what you carry with you inside determines in many ways how you see the transactions you're going to have. So if you predetermine internally how you want to be and what you want to get out of that moment with people, or this transaction, like before you walk into a meeting, you'll look for it and essentially create it. And here's an example. If they showed this to college students and they discovered that if you look at this, if you looked at this and you felt good, you had a good attitude, you saw this and you read it as happiness is now here. But if you were cranky, you saw happiness is nowhere. Or if you were in a less than positive mood, you tended to read this differently where you were at internally. Now, how many of you are cranky? No. So happiness is nowhere. You could find this you could just put this in and you can find the research study on this. What you bring internally can some ways reflect what you see. So why does any of this stuff matter? Well, this is why it matters. This is based on Gallup's Q12 study. If in an engaged, I'll turn all these on, in an engaged company, and you can apply this to your own team or to yourself, people who are engaged, people who are really involved in the transactions, in essentially a positive way. 57% discretionary effort. What does that mean? I choose to go over here and pick up this garbage on my own, and nobody told me I had to do it. I wanted to do it because it mattered to me. 42% greater financial performance across the board. I've worked with Wells Fargo. They will tell you that the branches where they have higher levels of engagement, they have lower levels of turnover, and they have less turnover in customers dropping their accounts. And as a result, 42% financial performance, and overall, in all measures, 20% increase in overall performance. That's huge. So toxic Bob literally can cost the company money, let alone your own vibe, right? You wanna. What do you do with those people? I'll tell you a little bit about what you can do with those in a bit. And by the way, I wanted to point this out. I brought this with me. Gosh, I love this. I love this so much. You just have no idea how much I love this. For those of you that are under 30, this is a Polaroid camera. We had these in the 1970s. We took pictures with them, right? It actually has film. That is a box, a little thing of film inside it. And you actually it comes out, and you look at it like this, right? There it is. That's a picture we took a little while ago, kind of spooky. And I know that people are going, what's that? Why I love this, and I bring this wherever I go now, this is analog, right? Analog doesn't require being on the internet, doesn't require Wi-Fi. I don't have to swear at this for a half hour before it works. I open it, I push the button, I get this. Here's what I think would be really cool. Everybody here should just go out and get one of these. This is an idea. You may not ever want to do this, but just get an idea. What if everyone had one of these? And before or after you walked into it, let's say you were going to go meet a client somewhere. You knew you were going to meet some people, and you knew what you wanted to get out of it was a picture. And you got your client together and gave it to somebody else to take a picture of us, and you brought this out. They would think you're crazy. And that would be so cool. Because they would never forget you. They would want to find another problem. Bring them back out. They're going to take a Polaroid picture. I know why I got this started. Several years ago, I was working with a grocery store chain on the East Coast. Absolutely true. This kid had a camera, his own camera, digital camera. And when he saw customers that he really thought were fun, he would pose with them all day long. And they would post them on his Facebook page. This is my day with the customers. And he had hundreds of them. And he wasn't doing it because it was kind of a gimmick. He did it, he would carry it around and go, oh, come here. And he would have another customer take a picture of them. And I thought, what a cool idea to grab a moment with a camera and send it to somebody. So I think you should carry your cameras with you, and that's why I bought it, because I'm actually going to take pictures with somebody up here later, so I have it. So here is my work at the Renaissance Festival, backing up a little bit. 400 some odd performers out there. I started in 1975, or 1974, when the first year it was on this site in Shakopee in 1974. That's when I met Penn and Teller. I've been friends with them every year since and toured with them for a while. Then in 1975, I created a character called the Rat Catcher, which I'll tell you about in a minute. And then I did improvisational street comedy for the next 30 some odd years. Then about 13, 14 years ago, I took over as the artistic director there. Really not because I wanted to be an artistic director, but I was interested in sort of a laboratory of how do I take some of these ideas I've been playing around with, reading with, and putting in the corporate world and bring them to the Renaissance Festival, take some of these things that I've learned from these incredibly talented performers and bring it to the corporate world. I found that that was the most valuable exchange, is what I brought to the corporate world. And so you got mermaids here. There's a king and queen. It's a software designer. She's an artist. There's people. These are all professionals. Everybody under the sun in terms of professions here. So we do this 7 weekends out of every year. And about 300,000 people come through the gates. And yes, just so I could put everybody at ease, the festival is going to be moving its location. In 2017, it's not going to go away. I want to tell you, thank you. Like some people never. How many people have never been there? Okay, good for you. Try to come out once. You want to see what we do. But I understand. If I didn't work there, I'm not sure I would go anymore. Just because I've been there one too many days. Just a little case in point there, that's the bakery in the background was actually built by the Children's Theater on a state arts grant in 1975, and it still stands today. Roughly, it shouldn't be. It's basically a set piece it's kind of rotting away, but it looks good. I want to tell you this story because I think this is, again, a little piece for you to take with you. So about 4 years ago, the owner of the festival came to me and said, what new ideas? I said, let's do mermaids. Let's bring some mermaids out, right? They are actually historically correct. They go all the way back to Asia. You'll see images of strange female fish-like characters. So they go back quite a ways, and Shakespeare refers to them. So it's not like it's historically inaccurate. So we created a mermaid cove. And I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know where the hell do you get tails? I mean, who makes tails? Turns out there's a whole industry in making mermaid tails. And they're very expensive, like $3,000 to $10,000 for a tail. And so 2 young women at the Minnesota Renaissance Festival, the Roberts twins, they're twins, came to me and said, we'd like to get a shot at trying to make these tails out of silicone. And I said, okay. Well, I'll give you some money, and they workshopped it, and they created tails that weren't very good the first year, but they were about 50 pounds of silicone. They would do a mold of a female form, and male too, and then out of silicone, this big tail that's about 10 feet long, okay? And then we bought a fish tank, and we put one of them in that, and we put a waterfall area in, and we have 4 mermaids made of these tails. Just a side note, the mermaids, the people that made these mermaid tails now living in Hawaii, and they're the #1 manufacturer of mermaid tails around the world, and very, very successful. Crazy business, all right? So I set it up, and I can't believe how popular it's been. In fact, the first year it opened at the Renaissance Festival, we had almost an 18% increase in gate attendance, largely due to mermaids. What a crazy world we live in, right? It's mermaids. And what is it? It's actresses wrapped in silicone sitting in a tank. I mean, that's it. And people want their picture taken with it. And the lines, there's sometimes 2 hours wait to see actresses in tails. It's like, okay, people love it, the little kids love it, it's a little kid thing. One day I'm standing there watching this line of people, and what they do is it's a walk, what we call a walk-through experience. People walk down the outside, they come down to the bottom of this cove area, and when they come down the corner, there's this beautiful tableau, right? And all these waterfalls coming down, and there's these beautiful mermaid tails and these beautiful actresses in tails, and they're fanning and they've got mirrors, and they speak mermish. They don't speak English. Talk about a niche subculture. So they're sort of fanning their hair and looking, and they're cooing at each other. And they come down, and then they get their picture, and then in the middle here is a one sitting, and you get your picture there, and you walk over here, there's a little step up, and there's this tank with a mermaid in it, all right? And I'll show you a picture of it. This is Lauren under the water. So as I'm sitting there watching, I look at this family coming down. They have a young girl in a wheelchair that appears to have some sort of a handicap. I couldn't tell. She didn't seem to be terribly engaged, but she couldn't get up. And she was wearing a costume. Her parents were smiling. They were kind of whispering in her ear. And I'm watching them walk across this area, and they're looking at the mermaids. And this young girl, probably 15, 16, maybe thereabouts, is kind of looking with a little interest, but not much. They pull up to this bottom of the stairway, and this girl looks up and sees Lauren. And I happened to be there with a different camera, and this is the back of her right here. All of a sudden, she lit up, ping, lights on, eyes open. She leans forward, tries to get out of her chair, and her dad puts his hand on her shoulder and says, hold on. And we lift her up the stairs, and we get a little bit closer, and she's careening forward, and she's reaching, and Lauren is kind of above the water. She's looking down. They can't obviously go underwater all the time. She sees this girl wanting to get closer. So we push her closer. Lauren, as a mermaid, goes down right here into the water, and she can hold her breath a crazy long time, like a minute, more than a minute. She can just go down and always smile. It's not like, that gasping. She's there. She goes down. This girl, we push her wheelchair right up to this glass, and she puts her hand on the glass. And the mermaid puts her hand on the glass and leans forward to kiss the glass. And the girl in the wheelchair leans forward and kisses the glass at the same time. And there it is right here. She's just coming forward to do that. Now, I know mermaids aren't real. I know they're actresses with silicone tails. I know none of it's real. I know it's an illusion. But what's not an illusion is that moment. Because everybody there that saw these two connect, hand on hand, lips on lips, at this moment was moved. We felt something. That's the currency by which the Renaissance Festival must be measured. It's not the costumes, that's one part of it. It's not just the food, that's one part of it. The most important part is, what did I feel, what did I get? What's the connection I made? This, essentially, in its own way, is what customer service must be about. Is how do we, in our own way, meet one another, where we're truly listening, we're truly with people, even just for a moment on the phone, that gives a sense that I'm dealing with another live being. I'm dealing with somebody who really cares about what I'm all about. And even more importantly, not just about the problem I have to solve, but about me as a person. So I've been doing this character for a while called the Rat Catcher. There I am with my costume on. I pretty much rip on everybody. I'm politically incorrect, I'm inappropriate, I'm bawdy, I'm wrong, I'm offensive. All of that is true, and I have a big following. Because I'm the bull and the china shop. This is some years ago with a little boy down in Texas. Really funny, but engaging people, pulling them out of the circle. No scripts, nothing. It's just a matter of engaging people. And no matter what you do, you're delivering on something, right? I love this. Regardless of your attitude or circumstance, you're always delivering an experience to others. Always. Always, always, always. This, and I think I have a photograph here I can show you that I think is, where is it? And what we choose to deliver is up to us. I want to get to this photograph here. Hold on, this is a presentation. Come on. Oh, I know what I'm going to do here. I'm going to jump to this. By the way, this is a definition. This is the organizational definition of engagement. The harnessing of organizational members' selves to their work roles and engagement people employ and express themselves physically, cognitively, and emotionally during their role and performances. How exciting is that? That's one. Here's I think, a better one. Engagement is characterized by energy, involvement, efficacy. Look at those words. As opposed to energy, involvement, efficacy, as opposed to exhaustion, cynicism, and inefficiency. Organizational cynicism kills all of us. It takes away millions of dollars in productivity, and it sucks the life out of all. That's what Bob does. Toxic Bob is all about exhaustion and cynicism, and he's first to point it out. Oh, it's inefficient. This place is a toxic waste dump. Thanks, Bob, for sharing. What do we do with that stuff? How do we essentially combat that? Well, here's something I believe the best thing I can give you is to surround yourself with tools, ideas, and even objects that speak to you, that tell you to get back to your normal place. We all work with people who want to suck the life out of us. So have something right by that just reminds you, this is who I am, this is what I want to be. And this is from Peter Block, and I love this quote. What matters most to us upon deeper reflection is the quality of the experience we create, not just the quantity of results. In our lust for measuring everything, the quality of the connection is very, very delicate and hard to measure. You know, I was thinking about this. This is how people show up. I do this all the time. Try this sometime. I was at a restaurant 2 nights ago. Went and saw the new Bond movie, so we went out beforehand. And she came up and she goes, "How can I help you?" I go, "I don't know. How can you help me?" Try this with people. Set them off. Try to set people off a little bit where they're not on the same path. How can I help you? I don't know. How can you help me? What can I do for you today? I don't know. What can you do for me today? Let me get out my notepad to see what you can do for me. Or when somebody walks up to you and says, is there anything I can do for you? And they go, "Can we take a few moments and talk about it?" Try these things. You know what you'll find out? They're used to having somebody go, "No, I'm fine." If you stop and you engage people differently, well, that opens a whole Pandora's box of possibilities. People want this. They long for it. I wrote an article for a magazine about if you want great customer service, be a good customer. And I got scathing emails saying that my article was letting service providers off the hook from providing the great service we expect and demand as customers. Really? Is that what this has come to? So as a performer, this here is always the delivery. Now, I love this photograph. Here I am on the ground. This is a little baby in a stroller there, and these are customers. This is some years ago, as you could tell. But look at this. So I'm having this moment with this child who cannot figure out what I am or who I am. I got makeup on, and I'm laughing and having a ground. But the child is certainly engaged with me, and I'm engaged with the child. But look at the mom here. She's laughing, but she's still holding onto the stroller, ready to pull her away if it's become unmanageable. And look around. Look at the guy here in the middle. I love that. That guy with a Renaissance Festival sweatshirt that doesn't fit, the hat that doesn't fit. It's like a Midwestern farmer. Here's a guy with a Toyota clipboard with nothing on it. I don't know what his story is. Look at over here. Here's a husband and wife. She's got the child safely tucked in her arms, and it's leashed, double redundancy. And over here on the far side is my favorite guy in this picture. This is a guy eating something deep fried out of a basket. That shirt has never seen the warm end of an iron. And if you look here, both of his shoes are untied. Now, if you spend any time at the Renaissance Fest, you know sooner or later he's probably going to fall. What I love about this photograph is not this interaction with me in it, but are these other people in it. Because the power of this connection, let's just imagine for a moment, do a little imaginary math with me. This is a transaction in customer service, me and the child. That child has its own experience. As he gets older and can remember it, he'll have an experience. But what matters most is not this, it's all of these other people. How we show up doesn't just affect the one, but everybody. And so all of these people are going to go away from this and tell the story about what happened that day at the Renaissance. This guy was on the ground yelling at this kid. The kid started to laugh, or the kid started to cry, and he told him to shut up. I used to do that kind of stuff. And these people walk out and talk about it. Or even crazy, they get pictures of it. And it's in books. When I started dating my wife, I was going through one of her books, and there was a picture of us, me as Ratcatcher, and her as like a 12-year-old. She's much younger than me. It made me uncomfortable. I said, we've met before? She goes, I was 12. Oh, don't tell me that. That's not a good thing. No. But we met each other. Memory of that. Make a connection. Walk into a space and ask yourself again, what do I want to get out this, and what do I want to leave behind? Love that. Fish. This is where I started from. I wanted to show this image because I think this is funny. If you've never seen the video, just briefly, this is what they do. They throw fish around, right? And here it is, people throwing fish. I don't know why this is so fascinating. I went to Pike Place Market, and we threw fish at each other, and they drop fish or whatever. A few years ago, saw another fish market. Now, there's like 4 fish stands all within the same block, right? They all sell the same fish at the same price on ice, right? And but this place always has the most people around it. Why? Energy. They have the most energy. They engage people. It's not just about, I want to buy fish. Well, we'll sell you fish, but we're going to do it with energy. It doesn't always have to come with throwing or some juggling. They'll throw it around. There's energy. So one of the competing fish stands was quoted in a newspaper article. I just think this is so funny. It said, we know that they're very popular, but we don't throw our fish around. We don't want to bruise our fish. Think about that. The fish are dead. You can't bruise a dead fish. So I've decided that is a truly good test. If you're working with somebody, you're just not sure if they're still among the living, hit them. If they bruise, you're good. So I want to tell the story because I love this. So I was at a Starbucks. I should back up. I did a tour with Hilton. I took 15 street performers across the country to 22 cities with Hilton. It was great. We were doing this whole thing at Top Performer and using the street performer metaphor. And we'd gotten off at an airport, and I don't remember which one it was. It might have been Washington or something like that. And we walk off, and right in the baggage claim area is a kiosk for a coffee company. I don't want to give names, but it's a large national chain represented by a mammal. And we walked up, and there's a woman standing behind the counter. Now, she's here, and the barista here, and there is a queue, a velvet rope queue chain right there. And it's the queue's back here. Her stand is over here. There's no one there except the two of them, the barista and the counter help. And she's standing there waiting for us. And so we just walk right up here. We ignore the queue. We walk right up, and we got 4 of us. And I go, hey, we'd like to do this, and da-da-da-da-da-da. We're very happy to be down at coffee. I'm a coffee junkie. I'm a coffee snob, right? I just need my coffee. And we order it, and she's like this. And I thought she was joking. So I make that mistake all the time, by the way. I go, what's up? She goes, you didn't go through the queue? And I laugh out loud. I go, oh, this is great. Well, we didn't go through the queue, guys. She goes, she was not kidding. She wanted us to back up and go through the queue and wait. And wait. So I go, are you kidding? No, you need to go through the queue. She does one of these things. And my friend in the back goes, oh, hell no. So we leave, 4 of us, gone. And she's just watching us walk away, like, we're talking all the way up. We get up to the main concourse, and there's a Starbucks, right? So we walk in, there's all these beautiful faces behind. There's energy, you hear the coffee make, smells like coffee, the music's going, right? I don't know, Bob Dylan or something playing. And we walk up, and I go, this is the way it ought to be. And this woman behind the counter, she goes, oh, you need something today. What do you want? Like, just like that. Like, I want a cup of coffee, and can we dance? I just said it like that. And can we dance? She goes, oh, we can dance. And she turns around, she goes, we're dancing, and everybody, all of the baristas, all of them just drop what they're doing, and they're like, hold on, like this. My friend next to me goes, what did you give them? I go, they're on coffee or something. I mean, everybody's going crazy. It's like all this energy is blowing up. I couldn't believe it. And this elderly gentleman's coming off the concourse with this roll-on bag, and he's watching this pandemonium and everybody high-fiving. And I go, hey, get that guy a cup of coffee. And he looks at me and he goes, why? And the energy's got to back up. I go, no, we're just dancing. You want to dance? He goes, no, I want coffee. Separated by an escalator, selling essentially the same product, what's the difference? You can argue it's the brand because they take care of their people. Perhaps that's one of it. Maybe it's because those upstairs made a choice about how they wanted to be while they're doing what they're doing. Never mind what the company does. They certainly make it easy. They get rid of a lot of that noise, but it still requires people making a fundamental choice. I want to create some energy with people. I want to do something that people remember. Now, if you've not seen, I'll show you this, I want to make sure I don't go over here. These are some of my street performer friends. This guy says, I bring music where there is none. Here's a girl that practices down at San Francisco, a guy that does paintings in London. And here's a woman, she's from Amsterdam. She does a Houdini escape routine. They're all over the place, but what essentially keeps them together are these things. Most performers are scripted, rehearsed, controlled, replicable, and they're interesting. The top performers, or the people and this is a guy I would call a typical performer, he does the same thing every single time, right? Or this is, you probably have seen this, this restaurant where they dance. You've seen this, where the hamburger joint? I don't remember what the name of it is. They have it at the Mall of America. Every 50 minutes they dance. When I ask one of the managers, how do you like that dance, man? He goes, we hate it, because we have to do it. You don't want to do it? No. We want to do it if we want to do it. We don't want to do it because somebody said it's time to generate some energy. I mean, look at them here. They just don't look very happy about the whole thing. And then there's the best performers, what I call improvised. They're engaged. They're more about revealing something interesting in their customer connection, more about that revelatory moment. They can replicate it because they're being themselves, and they are interested, not just interesting. Like this guy, Michael, in Vegas. First time I was there with some friends of mine. They had never been there before. I've been in Vegas. I lost count, well over 100 times. This guy's behind the bar at a restaurant called Olives at the Bellagio, right? He's behind the bar. We're just going to have a bite to eat, but we had to wait. So they gave us that little, vibrating remote thing that's going to let us know. So we're sitting there. My friends have never been to Vegas before. So I say, Michael, come here. And you get some drinks. We're having a glass of wine. It's just a beautiful day outside. And Michael's behind the bar. And I go, hey, Michael. And as I always do, would you mind taking a picture? And he goes, no, great. And he grabs my camera and he steps to the back of the bar, holds the camera up and snaps his picture of himself, and then puts down the camera and says, there you go, and walks away over here. And I go, no, of us. He goes, yeah, I can get one of you guys. And never once been like, oh yeah, never. Just played it straight. We never ended up sitting down. In fact, we spent 3 hours at the bar. I remember most of it. No, I remember all of it because of Michael. He engaged everybody. He had all these tricks and things he did. And I asked him, he was doing, he would wager with people. He had this little thing he did with olives. He would get all these people involved. And I go, do you just do this as a gimmick to get more tips? He goes, no. You can't get into my bar. It's not because I serve great drinks. Everybody serves great drinks. But I give people an experience. It's me. Nobody can do what I do. Oh, and I love that he does that. Now let me give you, I'm going to tell you a brief story because I have only a few minutes here left with you, and then I want to end with I want to end with this. I was, a few years ago, just hang with me for a moment. I promise you this story, you'll remember this. A few years ago, I was working for the Champs restaurant chain. And I had been hired to open all their stores, almost 25 stores. I was hired on a contract to teach customer service training, and I also dealt with all their promotions, and I taught myself how to design sound and lighting systems. So I was doing all of their audio and video stuff as well. So at the time, they had DJ booths, and I would buy all this music, $3,500 worth of music. This is back when it was a thing called CDs. and a little player on it. And I bought $3,500 worth of that. And I was in Columbus, Ohio, and I had to go to a Best Buy store. Now, most of you know Best Buy. Now, they've gotten much better about it, maybe too good at it. They didn't have great customer service back in, this is back in 2004, 2005. It really was struggling that way. So I walked into a Best Buy store knowing that I had to, what I was going to buy this particular day was to buy a wireless headset. I knew I was going to go in, acquire the headset, get out, right? I knew that I needed to do. So I got in, walked in, and there was some CDs, and I was looking at the CD rack, kind of looking at them, and I was in opening one of the new stores, so I had already bought my music, and I wanted to get this wireless headset. I'm looking at the CDs, and I'm kind of seeing what's new, and I look up across the store, because I'm looking for that yellow price tag that says, audio, and there's appliances and whatnot. I see audio back there. And so when I'm looking across the store, I see this guy standing at the end of a counter with a blue shirt on, right? And he's typing in something. I look that way, he looks at me, and for a moment, we just see each other. I don't know who he is, the Best Buy kid, right? And I'm looking, I kind of see him for a minute, and I kind of focus beyond him, that diopter. He's there, but I'm looking beyond him, and I see him do this. And he waves, which I thought it kind of scared me. Like, why would you wave at me? But he's waving like this. I thought, well, because he's looking at me. So I looked back down, ignoring me, and think he was waving at somebody else. And I looked back up, and he's still going. And he's getting a little more emphatic. I'm like, I finally do one of these. And I go, me? And he goes, yeah. And I go, well, hey, like this. He goes, right. And he smiled, big smile on his face, right. Like we'd accomplished something. Okay. So I look back down. Now, here's where it gets strange. I look back down, and I see this movement. And I look up, and he's running. Now, I'm not talking about fast walking or a fast gait. He's running in a way that OSHA would not approve. Running down, and he runs around the corner, right, coming right at me, full speed, right? And this is a tall kid. I'm like, what the? And he runs and stops right in front of me in my customer service bubble. The tips of his toes are right there. And he's like this tall, and he's right here, and he goes, what can I do for you? Now he does, what can I do for you, man? Like this, he does this, like that. I'm 55 years old, this means that, for all I know. What can I do for you? And I go, I'm looking for wireless headsets. He goes, oh, we got those here. I'm like, well, that's why I'm here. Right, he goes, cool. And he stands there smiling with me, and I'm like, this is really awkward. And he goes, you want to know where they are? Now, I told this story for Best Buy. The people know who this kid is. I go, yeah, I kind of want to know where they are, but I think they're back there. He goes, yeah, they're back there. And he points, which you're not really supposed to do in retail, right? Points. I go, well, thanks. And I kind of back out of the interaction, and he's watching me walk away, and he goes, where are you going? I go, I'm going to go get the wireless headset. He goes, no, man, look, I'm going to give you the truly exceptional experience here. Why don't you wait here? I'll go get them, all of them, and I'll bring them to you. And I'm watching him going, well, sure, why not? Why wouldn't you do that? He goes, you stay here, stay. Runs away, runs around the corner. Now, I'm just standing there going, what the hell was that? And looking around thinking, like, maybe this is one of those world's craziest moments, or, maybe he's back in the corner wagering on whether that idiot's going to stand there for all day, right? So I'm standing there. I go, wait. Some guy walks up. I remember some guy walks up to me. Now, I should back up. He had a name tag on. His name tag, he's salt and pepper hair. His sideburns were like this. Have you ever seen a guy with sideburns like that? Screws up your horizon. You want to go like this? It didn't work. And a name tag that said Peggy. So he goes around the corner. I'm standing there thinking, okay, this is really odd. And somebody goes, can I help you? And I go, no, we're going to see what Peggy's going to do here. And he looked at me, and so I'm waiting for a moment thinking, sure enough, I look down the aisle, and he's kind of coming up with all these boxes, and he's got them all, and he just dumps them unceremoniously on the ground, picks up the most expensive one, a Sony. It was like way more than I wanted to spend. He goes, this is the best one. This is the best one we got. He's singing the praises like, this is totally normal. This is the one you want. It does this, that, and the other thing. If you don't want this one, I brought these. Now think of the setup. Here's the good one. Here's the crap. Which one do you want? No, I'll take that one. He goes, do you need batteries? I go, well, what kind? He goes, AA's. I go, well, gone, comes back and brings a brick. Have you seen him? You can light a small New England village with one of these for a year. I only need one for every generation. This thing doesn't use any power. So I grabbed them, and he's got them for me, and I go, well, that's all I need. He goes, well, if you want to continue shopping, I can bring these up to the cashier for you, or if you want, I'd be happy to wander with you and hang out while you shop. Oh, no, I don't want you to hang out. I need to go. He goes, okay, cool. So we start walking up to the cashier, and he stops, and he goes, I'm sorry, dude, what's your name, man? And he gets kind of serious. I go, my name's Carr. He goes, cool. My name's Kevin. I work here. And then he goes, high five me, man, high five. And I did. I still don't know why, but I did. And I'm watching this all unfold. I'm thinking, I'm a customer service junkie. I was so unhooked. And I was like, what is happening here? He high fives me, and I don't know why. He's got my stuff. We get up to the cashier, and he goes, hey, you got to get, there's one line open. And there's a person, three people waiting, and they all look, because it was hot outside, they all looked not happy. And so he goes, you have to get back here. I can't get to the front of the line. And he goes, the cashier, and he sits his stuff down. He goes, folks, this is Carr at the end of the line. He's buying the Sony wireless headset and some of these batteries today. And he does this. Let's give him a round of applause. Now, when I told this at Best Buy, they're all laughing out loud because you're probably not supposed to get, but everybody applauded, including the pissed off people in front of me were like this. And so I'm standing there thinking, okay, I just came to get a wireless headset. And now I got a guy named Kevin who's Peggy, whose sideburns don't match, who's now got the people who are upset engaged. And he comes back to me and he goes, look, if there's anything else you need me to, don't come and look for me. Just go, Kevin, like this, I'll be here, right? I said, I knew that to be true. I said, okay, thanks. He goes, high five, and he turns around and walks, he's about 2 steps away. And I'm not kidding, he says, hey man, can I get you a soda? I'm thinking, yeah, you can give me a soda, that'd be awesome. He'd go, great, yeah, I know it's hot out. He goes, give me 50 cents. So I reach in, I go, never mind, buy everybody here. So he went out to the vestibule and pulled a bunch of, 4 or 5 cans. I kept popping them out and brought them over to me. Finally gives them to me, high fives and leaves them. Get out to my car, which wasn't a car, remember, it was a Geo Metro, it's not a car. It was a washing machine with wheels. I came back in, I got to find him. I find him in the back area, right? And there he is, putting his stuff away, and I walk up and he goes, hey. And he goes, what do you need? I go, are you a manager? He goes, no. Did you go through some Smile and Be Happy program with Best Buy? No. Where did this, what? Come on. He goes, no, what? I go, really, come on. Finally he goes, oh, you want to know where this came from? Yes, where did this come from? And he does this. He goes, Carr, can you keep a secret? And he's very serious now, which he had not been up to this point. Very serious, hushed tones, can you keep a secret? And I'm standing there thinking, no. How when you ask me like that? And he goes, no, could you keep a secret? I go, sure, well, yeah. He says, okay, come here. He kind of grabs my arm and he goes, come back here. And we walk to the back of this aisle, and I'm watching my life. He pulls me over here and he goes, just wait here. Stay here. And he does this. And as he's scanning the horizon and the ceiling and looking around in this sort of strange way, I think for just a moment, I'm going to jail. No. He finally walks over. He goes, you want to know why I do this? I go, boy, I'm so curious now. He goes, I'm a superhero. I fly around and I help people out. And I'm thinking, I'm watching him do this. And I'm thinking, what did you do on your last break? Does your manager know about this? He's not kidding. I'm a superhero. I fly around and I help people out. I said, where did this come from? Because I was going to quit my job after another job, and I thought, you know, my brother has all these superhero comic books. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool just to be a superhero, work at a Best Buy, instead of a newspaper, and not tell anybody? Wouldn't that be cool? Yeah, he goes. I had to hand it to him. He rewrote his own transcript for what his job is. Service employee, superhero. Which one animates him? Superhero. You should hear the stuff he did. He went to the local foot store, a shoe store, athletic shoe store. The manager comes up, may I help you? He tells me this story. May I help you? Yeah, I need a certain kind of tennis shoe. Cannot have black soles because I don't want to leave skid marks when I come in for my landings. Now, you could call him a whack job, but I want you to think about what your job is and what you deliver. He delivers superhero, and everybody remembers him. So I'm going to leave you with this one last story, because that's my time. And this all goes to the same piece. This is Ireland. I got a call a few years ago from the Guinness Company. Right? It's true. So would you come over? Could you come over and spend a week with us and train our facilities managers, the people that make all the world's greatest scotches and Guinness? And would you come over? We'll put you up. We'll fly you over. I said, yeah. That'd be good. And what I remember of that trip, it was fabulous. But they put us up at the St. James, right near the St. James Brewery, and this is Grafton Street. If you read my book, Top Performer, this is where a lot of this takes place. Now, I want to show you in a visual way to leave you with this image. So here is a guy juggling on Grafton Street. Here's his hat. He's passing the hat right here, right? And he's a juggler. He's just doing that thing he's learned how to do. Like a superhero at Best Buy, it would be, may I help you? Give me what I need and I leave. It's the same old thing. It's a replicable pattern. I can do it over and over again. Whether they're lit or not doesn't matter. It's easy, okay? Then I step up to the next, but look, there's nobody really here. In fact, if you look in this photograph, there's a couple of people standing there, and the garbage crew sort of pick stuff up. Nobody in the hat. Nobody really engaged with him at all. Go to the next picture. This is all in Grafton Street. Here's a guy playing an Irish flute. He's very, very good, mastered it. And you can see he's got 2 dogs in his pitch. A pitch is what we call the performing area. And I learned in the UK that if you have dogs, look at the kid is more interested in the dogs than the fact that this guy could play. If you have dogs, you get more money because people feel sorry for the dogs. If you have children, you won't get any money. How sad is that? Dogs get money, children don't. So people have dogs frequently. And this guy could play both the flute and the guitar. I listened to him for quite a while, really interesting. And I go to this guy, one more here. Here's a guy with a black hat on. And I know this is a disparaging term, but the gypsy is as best I can do in our nomenclature, and I apologize if that's offensive. But that's his marionette puppet, and he's made it out of his own, with his own hands, and it's dancing to a Tina Turner medley, gyrating around, a little microphone there, and you can see the puppet's a little frightening, but it looks pretty realistic, and all the people coming off the boats don't pay any attention to him, and I saw 100 of these examples. And then when my friend and I were getting ready to leave to go back to our hotel, the Berkeley Court Hotel, we see this guy, and we hear Michael Jackson's Thriller CD playing. And we pushed through the largest crowd we'd seen anywhere in Europe. It was huge. It was so big. In fact, the police later came and had to kind of get it to break up because nobody could get through here. And this is the act they're watching. Now, what is he doing? He's dancing. Look at this picture. He's dancing like crazy. Now, look at the folks in this. That's him right here doing the robot dance or moon dance. Or whatever. Look at the people. They're all watching. You see this? They can't believe it. Here's why this guy's so interesting. Music playing, dancing like crazy. He can't dance. He was terrible. Just terrible. Made it more interesting is he apparently didn't know or didn't care. He just danced with great commitment and vigor. Now, I know that an idiot with a commitment is inherently interesting to watch, as is evidenced by the great political campaign going on right now. But he's dancing with such incredible commitment, so much so that in this photograph, there's some roughneck kids over here. You can see one of them's got his head up. And the police have showed up here. I actually went over to the police officer a minute before that, and I said, have you seen this guy here before? And the cop goes, no, I've never seen him here before. It doesn't seem to be hurting anyone. Right? Okay, well, so this guy over here with his hat in his head, he's looking at the guy dancing, and he's going, oh, man, don't quit your day job. You suck, right? And they're harassing him. Here's why it's so incredible, is while he keeps dancing and laughing, and he wasn't drunk, he wasn't indigent, there was nothing, he was just a guy dancing. Didn't matter that he could dance, didn't matter that he didn't have it down, didn't have the process, didn't have all the patterns down, he was just dancing with great commitment. Guess what happens? People just start jumping in and dancing with him. And before long, the whole thing becomes a pandemonium, people screaming and cheering. Never once does he tell people this is what the gig is. And here in this photograph, which I just love, is this kid, in fact, who just minutes ago was yelling at him, is now in dancing with him. So that's where I want to leave this, is the simplicity and the elegance of what customer service is. A few years ago, I had a phone call in the middle of a meeting. I remember this. I was arguing some salient point with my coworkers. And Peggy, who is the director of incoming attitude at the company I was working for, or receptionist, said, your wife is on the phone. I said, I'll call her right back. She goes, no, she wants to talk to you right now. I said, well, just 5 minutes. She goes, no, she said now. Well, okay, so I got up, answered the phone. And my wife was calling me from the back of a truck, her pickup truck. And she sounded really upset. In fact, I could hear sirens and whatnot. I go, what's going on? She goes, a semi. I just had a head-on with a semi. I'm hurt. I'm really hurt. And I heard people in the background shouting. It was horrible, just horrible. She ended up in the hospital, got some severe injuries, almost killed her. And I remember thinking that day, I'd spent 4 years at this point speaking about customer service, how easy it is for everybody, all of us in this room, to get sort of a high on what we're supposed to do and forget who we are. To forget that ultimately, life is very short and very precious. And this guy in the street reminded me, it doesn't matter if you have all the moves down. What matters is what you love and how you love. And how you show up for other people is, in essence, an act of love, whether it's one of community or just a deep connection. Serving other people is, to me, there's just nothing better when we can show up and find a way to make a bridge, a great moment with another people, whether you're a street performer or you're working in customer service. That, to me, makes a better world. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Hey, can I do a selfie with one of these? All right. There you go. Thank you very much, guys. Have a good day.